It certainly was. Absolutely crunched straight down the middle. And that is part of today's video topic, guys. How are we going to control our iron strike? Because I know for a lot of you out there, it's something that really bugs you. When you're hitting those really horrible golf shots, you're hitting good shots off the tee, but maybe then you're wasting them down on the fairway because of how you're actually delivering the club back onto the golf ball. Right, let's get stuck into this lesson then. Actually delivering the iron to the golf ball. What we've got to understand, do we want an ascending blow or do we want a descending blow firstly? And with the iron, if we looked across the whole of the bag, if we went from three, let's call it 3 iron, if you've still got one of those, all the way down to a gap wedge or a lob wedge, what we want to see is that you are getting a descending blow. That means that the club is actually coming down as it hits into the golf ball. So we get ball and then get that little divot like you saw on that shot from the start of the video there. Now, what a lot of people do get confused with as well is that when they, it's the sort of scaredness of trying to take a divot. They don't want to hit the grass, think it's almost a big no-no and you're going to get told off for it. It's completely fine as long as you replace your divots on the fairway. That's great. On the tee, it's okay. You've got sandboxes that you can fill it back in with. Then the second sort of misconception sometimes is that these divots have to be huge when they take them, and that when we actually attack the golf ball, the leading edge of the club really starts to bury into the ground and becomes this big sort of turf gouger as it comes in. And that's not the case. It might be that you only actually bruise the turf. As long as you get ball and then turf contact afterwards, that's fine. It might be a little slither. And what I like to generally get my clients to do when I'm at the range with them specifically is get the feeling of the sole just brushing the turf. Obviously with the mat it's a little bit fluffy almost, and what I like to get them to feel is that they're just almost skimming the top of the mat and almost just getting a little bit of grazing going on, and you can hear it just gets a nice little sort of noise on the mat and allows them to just get the feeling of where the club is bottoming out. So a great drill that I found the other day with one of my lessons, Peter, one that I actually used myself when I was struggling a little bit with controlling the arc of my golf swing and the low point of my golf swing, particularly where the club bottoms out. I found this drill really helpful because straight away it gave me great feedback as to where the club was bottoming out. So let's get stuck into that right now. So, as we can see here, we've got an assortment of golf balls that you'll see from the other angle here, and it's called high, low, no. High tee, low tee or middle tee, and then no tee. If you wanted to, you could hit this one, the last one, off a tee that's very probably at the lowest point of being pushed into the ground. So we've got a high one, we've got a medium one or a low one, and we've got something that's got no tee that's basically on the ground there. Because all these, you can still hit good golf shots off each individual one here by controlling where the club actually gets to the bottom of its golf swing. If I were to come down too steep, if I just move the original two balls out of the way here, if I were to come down too steep on the big tee, what would happen, and obviously as I address it, I'm going to have to hover it a little bit and I'm going to have to learn to just sweep it off a little bit. But if I come too steep, and what I get to do with the people at the range, we've got the rubber tees that with an iron, it sits probably 3/4 of the golf ball above the face, and we put some dry shampoo on just to see where you're striking it. That steep strike of this one here, if I came down too steep and got it going, I would go underneath the ball. It would almost fall off the ball here or get very minimal distance as I actually hit the shot. If I again came down and I bottomed out too early, I might get something where I actually scoop it up a little bit too much and get the club ascending, and I start to get these real high shots with a lack of distance. What I want to learn to do is start to actually learn to pick it off. With a wooden tee it is a little bit more difficult because you might break the odd one in here, but at the range, when you've generally got those two tees in the mat, a big one, a small one, and then you've got your mat, it's a fantastic drill to get you actually controlling the golf ball, the golf club, and where it actually bottoms out. So what I'd suggest you to start to do is take your setup, and it's like having the ball above your feet on the high one here, so we'd start to see that we get a little bit more of a rounded swing, so it shouldn't naturally be as steep deep anyway. Have some swings and just feel, if you can, it's very tough, like I say, that you're going to get the club almost just glancing the top of that tee. And I don't know if the microphone's picking that up there, but I'm literally just grazing the top of it. So all of a sudden I'm able to control where that club would be delivered. So I'd take it on and I'd maybe get a 7 iron, a 6 iron as I do this, and what I'd want to see is that I'm hitting some half shots or 3/4 shots. I'm going to hit a full one here just for myself, but as you do it as a drill, what I'd want to see is that you're hitting some half or 3/4 and seeing that you're able to just pick it off and almost leave the tee intact if it was a wooden tee. And then with the rubber tee, you want to feel that you're just knocking it off the top. So let's give that a quick go on this one here. So let's control where this comes out. So here, and pretty good, tiniest little bit of a thin, but it's still gone nearly my normal distance there. And as we can see, the tee's now left intact and I've picked it off. Then what we do is progress to the low tee. So we get it here, or the medium tee. We can see that one from the other camera angle there. And again, now my setup changes. I go back almost to a little bit of my normal setup here, and I would have to start to feel where that club is going to bottom out. I wouldn't have it like the high tee, because if I would top it. If I come down too steep, my strike location is going to be too high out of the club face, and I'm not going to see the desired distance I want. So as I go through it, I'd take my setup and I'd want to see that I'm now controlling this arc. And again, with the irons, it's only, 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees that the club's coming down, so it's not very far away from being level. So you've got to feel that you're just sweeping it off and just grazing the top of the tee. Like I say, let's go for this low one here. And again, pretty much the same strike, just picked it off pretty clean. It's gone pretty much the same distance as my previous one at the start of the video, all from starting to control where the club is bottoming out. And then from there, once I've got confident with those 2 shots where I'm getting it picked off quite cleanly, I'm seeing that the strikes are pretty decent and the ball's flying pretty solidly in the normal distance I would do, I'd then want to progress into this feeling of hitting it back off my normal tee. And if I've now got control of where the club is bottoming out, I'm able to get this little brushing of the turf and get a really solid strike on it. So let's give that a go, see if we can get the strike that we got on the first one, and even so try and pick it off even a tiny bit more. Oh, it's even better than the first one. And you might pick it up from the other camera there. There's the tiniest little grazing of turf. I've got a 4 iron out here, so I think off the top of my head it's 2.3 degrees down that they would hit on the PGA Tour with a 4 iron. So 2 degrees down is hardly even going to make an indentation on the ground there. So a real fantastic way for us to actually gain some control of where we're letting the club bottom out. Start hitting some shots and being able to pick them off the different height of tee, high, low, no, and see that you're actually delivering the club how you want to. You're getting the strike, you're getting that little graze of the turf. Then when you get back out onto the course, we should see that you're not wasting these shots with your irons, not getting those real poor strikes. You should see that you get real crisp and quality golf shots from better strikes there just by going through this drill. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson this week. Real simple drill for you, something that we can all do whether we're at a range or on the golf course. Give it a try. Post in the comments down below, how's it gone for you? Let me know, did you find the high one harder or the medium one harder? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you do want any more free golf lessons, remember to hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any more. A big thank you to Lacala as well for having me out again this week. Never ceases to amaze me how good this place is. It's been smashing it down at home. The weather's perfect here. I'm going to go and make some more videos to help us all improve in our golf. So I'll see you in those very shortly.